The most interesting guests. The coolest conversations. Keep watching episodes of the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott. Follow the Grizzly Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more apps to have our episodes delivered right to your iPhone, Android, or any other device whenever they're released.
So what does it mean to be on your Grizzly? It means hard work, dedication, and it means progress. Be on your Grizzly. Hard work, dedication, and progress.
I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me.
Coming to you from the City of Angels, this is the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Grizzly Podcast. I am your host, Irvin Scott, and today I am joined by a special guest. My guest today just recently performed at Next Fest LA at the LA County Fair. She'll be performing at the I Voted Festival in November. She'll also be appearing in Garlic Parmesan, a film directed by AJ Lutsky, which is scheduled to release in 2023. The film's soundtrack will feature her music as well. And speaking of music, she is currently working on a new album and will be releasing a music video for her next single, Run It. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, Amy Correa Bell.
Wait, is that me?
Yes, you.
Greatest intro ever. You nailed some fun ones right there.
Hey, and that's why you're on the show today, because we're going to talk about most of those things. Amy, thank you so much for being on the Grizzly Podcast. This is a podcast that basically represents people that are constantly on their grind. And I feel like you're somebody who embodies that. You're somebody who's constantly on their hustle. You've accomplished so much in your career. So I definitely want to highlight all that. I know you just recently released your latest music video for the single Anyways. And I got to say, man, you did your thing.
Oh, thank you so much. Shout out to director Valentina V for directing that. I had a lot of fun on that video. It was like the coolest sets, and it was just a really, really fun experience. Everyone that worked on set came together. During COVID, we had to get tested, vaccinations, wear the mask, but we still made it happen. I'm just really proud that I was able to work during that like weird season. And then I get to finally release it. Sometimes you have these videos for a long time and they don't see the light of day till like 9 months later. And you're like, man, that was eons ago.
Yeah. And that can be scary because it's like you prepared to like release it during a certain time frame. And obviously because of the pandemic, you're trying to figure out what to do next. Do you release the video during the pandemic? And
it feels like every time I want to release something, there's like a world disaster going on. And you want to be like sensitive to what's happening because it matters. But I've realized that it's never a bad time to release art because no matter what's happening in the world, people want to feel something. They want to feel good. They want a good song to make them smile for 2 minutes, or a song that they can relate to, because there is a lot of crazy things happening. And I used to kind of like wait to put stuff out, but I'm kind of like, I'm just going to start dropping stuff.
I dig that. And, and music is so therapeutic. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand that it actually helps us cope with the world. Sometimes you could be dealing with some shit and, just listening to music can definitely set the tone for how, your life is going to be that entire day or the next few weeks, the next few months.
I just told my friend, Jean Bautista, I saw him DJ late last night. And I texted him this morning. I said, last night a DJ saved my life. Like, cause you don't know, I need live music. I need to go hear good DJs. I need to be around the sounds, not just like in the studio. Sometimes, like I was telling my brother last night, man, it felt so good to just be a person out listening to music and not be worrying so much about the mix and the bass and the levels of everything. Cause I was like, only we think like that. We're just oh, it could have been a little bit louder there, but like, when you're out clubbing or hanging out, you do not care about all those details. It's either the song's tight or it's not,
It's literally just all in our head. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like nobody else is paying attention to any of that besides ourselves. So
we're so picky and like want everything to be perfect.
You've been doing your thing for quite some time. So let's take it back. Okay. For everybody that's not familiar with how your career got started, tell us about how you got started in the industry. And that's basically everything, the entertainment industry from singing to acting to modeling. Tell us about how that whole thing came about.
Oh, okay. So I'm raised in the San Fernando Valley, the 818, proud Latina here in San Fernando. Hey, represent 818. And thank God, my mom came from Guatemala. My dad's from Puerto Rico. They met here and my mom brought like 11 of her family members here and got their citizenship, over 52 years ago now. But for her to give me the life that I have where I can actually go for my dreams and be inspired just from where I'm living, because like right down the street, Richie Valens, Patrick Swayze lives up the street, Marvin Gaye, Danny Trejo still lives here. I just feel like I'm around that presence of creativity. But growing up, I grew up in a house, both my brothers are DJs and producers. So it's so funny. One of my brother's friends was here today and he said, I remember coming over here and we would be DJing and then you would just be on the piano there singing your little songs. I was like, really? I don't remember. I just remember seeing them dancing and soaking up the music. And my parents just kept me busy with classes because I was a really hyper kid. So they put me in piano classes. They put me in a private school LA Lutheran, where I was like in all these classes from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. because I'd just be tired when I got home, do it again. So I kind of always was like working towards something, but I didn't initially think I was going to be in the music industry because I just used to see Madonna movies and want to be Madonna. And I know she was in the movies, but she also had songs. And basically, long story short, I begged my parents to get me into the acting industry. And they used to film a lot of movies. I think they were filming, it was like Meteor Man down the street. And I asked to like be an extra in it. And somebody saw we were just there, me and my parents. And I got a card for like a manager, to go to like an acting class. Went to the acting class, got a manager. I did a few more jobs as an extra. I was like in Munchies 2. And then I got an audition for a Burger King commercial and I booked it, but I wasn't in SAG. So I got my SAG voucher and the commercial just paid for me to get in it. So I didn't know what any of that meant. I didn't know that it was hard to book a commercial at like 11 years old, or I think it was 11 or 12. And then I remember I had a print job. Like, he's like, you got a job. You're going to take pictures at Universal Studios. So it was actually like the little girl in the pamphlet, like on the rides. And so I just knew that I was like in for a ride for like doing stuff like of that sort, but I didn't know where it would lead to. But I did book a lot when I was a kid actress. I was working in Spanish and in English. And I definitely was like one of those, kids that had no fear. And then when I was 17, I got an audition to be in a girl group getting put together by MCA. And I honestly knew that I was familiar with music. Like I can sing, I can play piano, but I didn't think I was like a good singer. I just, thought I could sing. But I told the guys, I said, hey, I'm here. I was told to audition, but I could sing Happy Birthday. And that's what I did. And then I made it into this group. And fast forward, I have a record deal, for the next 3-4 years of my life. I'm being trained to dance, to sing, and learning to write music. And the acting thing, it was like always bouncing back and forth. But that was like my introduction into the entertainment industry, I would say so.
Wow. And that's so crazy to hear because you mentioned all these people that, also grew up in 818 or were at least in the Valley. Richie Valens. Yeah. You talked about Danny Trejo. You forgot to mention one person, though, that's also from the 818.
Irvin.
Myself over here, I grew up in the 818 myself. I mean, I grew up in Pacoima. So
we're neighbors.
Yeah, literally. And I grew up my entire life in Pacoima, bounced around to like Silmar, and you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's definitely dope to see other people such as yourself who are creatives just doing their thing out here as well.
Oh man, that makes this interview just so much more special too, because then you already know. I mean, and I love my neighborhood. I love all the horses. I love seeing my Latinos, my people, you know, like I just love the culture so much, and I like being around culture.
You also mentioned that you're part Guatemalan.
Yeah.
That's me too, man.
No.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Man, like it's cool to see another Chapin out here, man.
Come on, Chapinas. And I get the best of both worlds because my mom makes a little bit of Guatemalan and Puerto Rican food together. So I get the plantains, the black beans, arroz con gandules. It's hard to be on a diet over here.
What do you prefer more though? Like, do you prefer Guatemalan food or like Puerto Rican dishes? Like what's better?
I like a mix of the two, man. I don't know. I can't decide. But Puerto Rican is definitely like, when it's done right, it's my favorite. It has a little bit of that Guatemalan feel already.
Puerto Ricans also eat, black beans.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy, dude. That's so awesome. Cool, man. I love it. We're connected in more ways than one.
There you go, man. And you know what? And shout out to your brother Les, because I've met him before, and I just want to thank him for actually bringing us together.
Shout
because
out Les.
Yeah, good guy, man. And very talented as well.
Him and my other brother, Eddie, Mixer Ed. I used to be in a band with Eddie and my other friend, Sterling, called Craze.com. And so he's really good with music and DJing too. But now I'm like working really closely with Les. And the cool thing is on Super Bowl Saturday, an unreleased track of ours called Run It got an exclusive play on KCRW. I posted it to Instagram. Well, we were crying. It was so funny because I had had the phone set up. I was like, we're gonna have to film our natural reactions because it's a moment we'll never get again. So I had one camera in the middle and one on the side. And I literally go to check my camera and it was zoomed in like this close. And all you could see was like a weird tear coming down. I was like, oh my God. So we ended up using the middle phone, but I was so nervous. Like I was literally nervous. I'm like, why am I nervous? I'm just waiting for something to come on the radio, but for me growing up, listening to KCRW is where I found all my favorite new artists. And so thank you. Shout out to DJ Francesca Harding, because she made one of my little girl dreams come true. I'm like, man, that feels different. I just want to keep building community and finding people that connect with my music.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I actually saw your post the day or that weekend of the Super Bowl. And I saw the reaction with you and your brother in the car. And, obviously you were so excited when you heard your song, play on the radio and all that. And I just thought, wow, you're so passionate about what it is that you do.
Like I'm just scratching the surface and it's taken me so long to get here. My best music is about to come out, but there's even better coming. And I just know that because I've been through so much and I'm finally in a place where I could work on producing my own album with my friends and I can take my time and I don't have to stress about it. And I have enough community and people that know who I am and like my music or just connect with me that we're on the journey together. It's not just about me, it's about them too. So it just feels different. And I think this whole pandemic, it really threw everybody back, but it also brought a lot of us closer to where we need to be. Like it was a blessing in disguise, not to everybody it was a blessing, but in the end, I feel like I value people, family, everything so much more. And I do feel like, our time, whatever time we have here on earth, it's limited. You have to make the most of it. And when you've lost people and you've been through things, you just listen, I got music to make and songs to sing and things to do. I don't really have a social life, so it's been a little rough with friends. All my friends love me and support me, but I do definitely feel like I'm sacrificing a certain part of my life for a while so I can live comfortable later. And I'm okay with that.
That's part of the grind. You literally explain what the grind is all about. Staying on your Grizzly is basically that, having to sacrifice relationships with other people or, just time to do other things because you're focused on one go, which is whatever it is that you're doing.
Like, would you get mad at somebody working to go to the Olympics because they have to practice 7 days a week? Be like, man, why are you always going to the gym and like being so healthy? It's like, I'm going to the Olympics, bruh.
I agree. Yeah.
Man, you always be in the studio. You just stay in the studio. I'm like, yeah, I do. I stay doing what I love to do. And I owe it to that little girl, that 11-year-old Amy that was like, I'm doing this and did it to keep doing it. No one was pushing me back then. And I don't need anyone to push me now. Like I got God and that's all, that matters.
I saw how many people go on your Instagram live and they show you all the love, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What does that feel like? To me. They're so nice. But what does that feel like? Just having like, a large amount of people just checking in with you, wanting to know when your music drops. And if not your music, they just want to know how you're doing and what's going on in your world. What does that feel like?
Man, I feel like I want to respond to everybody and just tell them, wow, thank you for taking time out of your day to like, come show me some love, Like, I don't feel like I'm any more important than the next person. So it's really inspiring. And it kind of just like, I go through these times or seasons in life where I just get down that things haven't happened faster for me because I have been doing it so long. And then I realized, no, you know what? It's about the journey. Like I need to really embrace where I'm at right now because I'm going to look back and wish I had this much time off later. Like right now, my husband's on tour. He's doing 4 shows a week in 4 different states. He's sleeping 5 hours a night, getting up at 4 a.m. to get on the tour bus. And he's so grateful, and when you're on that kind of a schedule, you have to eat a certain way. You have to drink so much water. You don't have time for extra conversations because you got to save your voice because you have to sing tomorrow too. And I'm like, I have a whole nother level of respect for the art, for the presentation of it. And I just want to honor that. And I don't think it's better to just show people, it's like, man, just when I'm able to do a show for you, come and you'll understand. That's the hustle I'm trying to be on right now. I'm just trying to be like better than I was last month as far as like staying positive, working on my craft, cutting out certain foods and habits as much as I can. So
just trying to find a balance for it all, right? That's all it is.
Like last night I said, man, if 2 people show up to my show tonight, I'm going to perform like it's 200. And that's really what it's, if one person is there, I'm going to give them my best. And that's really what I was thinking. Like it made me just value it so much more, and value the time that I have to connect with people. Cause like you said, we could be doing anything else with our time,
Tell us how you met your husband, Ricky Bell.
I met him at a concert. I think Mary J. Blige, Bone Thugs, Lil' Kim were on it. But we just met in passing. We didn't exchange info. We met again at the movies, didn't exchange info. I think as a matter of fact, his nephew asked for my pager number, my pager, back when pagers were a thing. And then he was friends with a few of my friends. So I just heard about him a lot. And somehow we ended up on a phone one day talking and we just became friends. So Rick and I were friends for, 2 years before anything like romantic ever sparked off. I remember reaching out to him like I had some sort of contract with like a management firm. And I said, who could help me with this? Oh yeah, I know, Ricky Bell. I'm going to hit him up to help me with this contract. So he gave me some good advice back then about my record deal, like where we were headed, our group. And then it was crazy because I was in the girl group. I was in that group for a long time, but we would all record at these studios in Burbank. I think it was called Enterprise or Screenland. BBD was recording their album there and we were in another side. So anyways, we just stayed connected and eventually we were like, what's going on here? think we're more than like homies, you know? So it grew into something more over time. And I basically married my best friend. So yeah, it's cool.
In addition to that, both you and Ricky have actually dropped music together as well. I know in 2018, you guys dropped your single Gold.
And that was directed by my best friend, Meagan Good. So she did an amazing job and she knows us. So it was easy to take direction from her because number one, she's a great director. And number two, we've all known each other for so long. It's like talking to your family.
Yeah, you know, and shout out to Meagan Good. So let me ask you that. Let me ask you about, you know, working with your friend and your husband, obviously. Like when you guys are working on a project such as this one, does it feel like work or does it feel like it's just, you know, it doesn't even feel like work anymore? It's just you guys having fun?
We're having fun, but it was work. It was work because of call times are always like 5:30 in the morning. So you still got to get up early and, you know, pretend it's later. And it's still like you're wearing your outfits and if there's any like choreography or anything. But to be honest, it was really fun for me because it's the first time I've ever collabed with Ricky in that way. So it was like a first time. And I'm like, how am I getting to do this with both my best friends?
But do you feel like the pressure kind of goes away a little bit, at least just because you're around people that you know?
Yeah. And they're the best. I mean, I'm like, I respect their craft and what they do so much. So like, I know I'm working with the best and they're going to bring the best out in me and vice versa. So it's really cool. Very grateful.
Your relationship with Meagan Good, obviously you guys are good friends. How did you guys connect and, you know, how did that whole relationship come about? How did you guys become friends?
We met at a callback for a pilot, a TV show pilot audition. We had to go in and read together with two other girls. And we booked the job. So we became friends during the show. And we both had to do homeschool. So we figured, well, we might as well stay over each other's houses all the time. And since we're both actresses and have nothing to do but stay home and do homeschool. So we've been inseparable ever since. I met her when I was 14. So we've got 20 plus years of friendship. And man, I know when I met her, she had just shot Eve's Bayou and she was telling me about it. And I was seeing like the pictures from set. Man, she's crazy talented and like such an inspiration.
I know you dropped a couple singles in the last few years. Some of the singles that stand out to me are Supreme, Blessings,
Woo!
Days Like This. Good stuff, by the way. So with that being said, Amy, how would you describe your music to people that aren't familiar with your music?
So I would say my style of music is alternative urban pop. It's got a taste of alternative music, meaning just different genres of sounds blended together. Yeah. And I'm generally a pop artist. So you'll hear house music from me. You'll hear stuff that has a little bit more of a R&B swag to it, but it's on an alternative beat. And you'll hear a lot of like rock, you know, vibes from me as well. Alternative sounds.
Yeah. And you know what? And it's okay to, you know, basically blend genres because if you're an artist, that's what you do. You know, an artist isn't afraid to, you know, basically try something else.
Yeah. And I mean, at the core of it, I'm just trying to have my own sound. I'm not trying to sound like anybody else. I want to have something that's unique to me. So when people hear it, they're like, oh, that sounds like an Amy track. That sounds like an Amy song, you know?
Who are some of your music inspirations?
My music inspirations range from Tom York, Kurt Cobain to Madonna, Janet and Michael Jackson, Sting, The Police. I love Biggie and Tupac. I love Tribe Called Quest. Daft Punk, New Order. So I can go on and on. I love so many ranges of artists, but I like long-term artists. I like growing up with artists and seeing their music evolve and just seeing what they come with. And Madonna is like really one of my biggest inspirations.
how would you compare music and acting? Is there one thing that you prefer over the other one?
I love to perform my own music more than anything, because that's very personal. It's like I wrote a song, went through all this process, and now I get to perform it for somebody. So that's my favorite thing to do. With acting, it's like I'm reading someone else's story or lines. So I'm committing to the craft, and I'm applying, like learning. It's not something I came up with. So with acting's a lot more discipline, because it's different jobs, and each job and each role is going to require something different. So it's definitely more challenging. But it's also really fun. Like I just shot a movie called Garlic Parmesan, and it's a comedy. I'm excited about that because I really love comedy. When I was little, I used to book a lot of comedy stuff, and I miss it so much. And I forgot that, when you're on set for a comedy movie, everyone's laughing and cracking jokes and letting you try things and improv. So that's my wheelhouse. Like I love that so much. And yeah, that's a movie that'll be coming out. And cool thing is they picked one of my songs for the soundtrack. So you'll hear one of my new songs debuting on that whenever it comes out.
A lot of projects in the works right now. Is there anything that you're currently working on right now that you can speak about?
I just dropped a single called Anyways. There's a music video out. So if you haven't heard the song, make sure you go stream it, check out the music video, hit me with the message and let's connect. And I also will be releasing some music in Web3 as well as, the regular way where you can listen to it on Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify. In the next few months, there's going to be different drops from me. And yeah, I'm very connected to communities. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to have an experience with my music and not just listen to it. I have a song with my brother, Les, called Run It. We're going to be dropping that soon. And I'm just going to be working hard on that so that when I come back, I can tell you all about it. And I have other music I'm dropping too. But I would say I'm finally doing music that I really, really want to do. I'm getting some things off my chest. I'm letting it all hang out. And so, yeah. Would you come to one of my shows, Irvin?
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm there now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like if you were to tell me that you're doing a show tonight, I'm like, yo, where's it at? For people that aren't familiar with a virtual show, what does that entail? What is that like?
Honestly, it entails a webcam, a little setup, and whatever you want to bring to it. I just did a Web3 festival. So I just performed as me here in our setup, and I did an hour set. But it's different because it's more intimate and I get to talk back and forth to whoever's at my show about the songs and what they're about. So it's definitely a little bit more personal.
And there seems to be like a trend there too, because I know a couple artists have been, kind of doing that. I know Kehlani did that, I think during the pandemic where she had like a virtual show. I think her, obviously she had to cancel her tour. So she ended up doing like a show online, and obviously a lot of people just like paid, whatever amount to watch it online and stream it.
So dope.
That's dope. That's a new way of living.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I would love to be in person and just see everyone's face and feel their energy. And like, I know that would make me so happy, but it's also, I have a newfound appreciation for the online thing.
For all the people that can't actually be there in person, like this is your way of actually connecting everybody together from, everywhere from around the world. So I think it serves its purpose. You know what I'm saying? So like you can actually do a virtual show and people can stream it online and, everybody gets in and gets a chance to basically watch you. So that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. There were some people there from Chile, from Australia. That's so rad.
In the future, would you consider maybe even doing this where you could do like a virtual meet and greet too, where you'll spend time with some of your fans?
That's actually going to be part of one of my NFT releases, because I'm going to be releasing Run It with Les in Web3 first. And so I'll have different tiers, and one of them is going to come with certain perks, utilities like a meet and greet, a virtual meet and greet, some custom merch, and to be a part of what we're doing, and also access to my music weeks before it's released, so they can hear stuff I'm working on before I drop it and have input and just give feedback. Because if you're a super fan and you want to hear what I'm working on in the studio, I'm like, cool, tell me what you think. Because then it helps to have that feedback and see what people are feeling before I drop it.
Obviously, you're involved with all kinds of things. For anybody wanting to know more about what's going on in your world, where can they follow you online? Tell them about the website, hit them with the social media links, all that.
I have a long name. It's Amy Correa Bell, Correa. But it's pretty easy to find me because I have the same handle everywhere. Amy Correa Bell on Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Amy Correa Bell, Facebook. Hit me up, say what's up, pull up to a show, check out my music.
So Amy, because this is the Grizzly Podcast, what we do here on the show, like I mentioned to you earlier, the show is all about being on your grind, being on your hustle. So for anybody listening or watching this show right now, if you were to offer them any advice as far as pursuing their goals, what would you say to these people, Amy?
I would say to write everything down, write everything that you want to happen and why you want it to happen. So it's kind of like knowing the reason behind what you want. I really feel like it motivates you to stay on it. Forward progress every day is progress, and that's what counts. You don't have to get everything done in one day, but every day, if you make a little bit of moves, it all adds up. Preparation always meets opportunity. So prepare to be your best at all times, because that opportunity will come when you're on your grind, when you're on your grizzly. You're doing it for the right reasons, and you got that love and that passion. I promise you, your time is coming.
It was a pleasure having you on the Grizzly Podcast. It was so cool to connect with you and just learn about everything it is that you do, whether it's music, whether it's acting, modeling, doing virtual shows.
It's been such a pleasure being on the Grizzly Podcast. You're my neighbor. We're both from the San Fernando Valley. We're both part Guatemalan. That just makes it so much more special. And we both are on that Grizzly. So, man, I'm more than happy to connect. And thank you for your support and your kind words and uplifting me. Got me all pumped up right now. I'm all fired up.
You've got a lot going on, and you've got a lot of things that are going to be dropping within the next few months and within the next year. So for everybody that's listening and watching the show right now, be on the lookout. Make sure you guys follow her on social media. Thank you so much. Stay on your Grizzly, girl.
Thank you.
Get it, pop. Let's get it.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the Grizzly Podcast YouTube channel to access full episodes, video clips, and more on YouTube. The most authentic podcast is online at grizzlypodcast.com and on all major podcast platforms. Guest appearances and real conversations that will push you to hustle. The Grizzly Podcast is now streaming.
Hi, and welcome to Trademark Expediters. Whether you need a trademark or copyright, we can help make the process easy and affordable. Protect your company name, logo, or slogan with the trademark. Protect your songs, books, photographs, and other creative works with a copyright. Complete our easy online questionnaire in 15 minutes or less. Clear pricing, no hidden fees. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Get started today. Learn more at trademarkexpediters.com or call one of our friendly specialists at 1-800-510-1082. Affordable, easy, expedited service. Trademark Expediters.
Yo, turn it up.
Hard work, dedication, and progress. Stay on your Grizzly.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out another Grizzly Podcast episode. We'll see you next time.